trust in me, and you will find. And time goes by so naturally while you receive infinity.
Okay, Cancer, here's your spirituality reading for the March-April season of this year. I'm going to get right into things here. The first card we have for you from the Gaia deck is 23 Integrity. Okay. Yeah. What does integrity mean to you is what they said. We may have to look at this more highly here. Going forth in what we truly believe, is it for, where does integrity sit? I almost have to get a definition there. Give me a minute. I know what integrity is internally, but word-wise, what does it mean? So I'm going to look that up, actually, and get an official definition of it. Okay, here we go. So the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. He is known to be a man of integrity. And similar things as honesty, rectitude, honor, honorableness, good character, principles, ethics, morals, morality. This is what we're talking about here. In case we didn't know. I wanted to define that because, morally, that's something kind of, in my mind, I don't mess with that word. It is what it is, and you either have it or you don't. This kind of thing. So we may be running up to a situation here where we have to take our morality into account, or haven't up to now. We'll see where this sits now. Okay, the next card that we get here is the King of Earth, 14. Yeah, the King of Earth, he has morality. In his upright, positive pole, he is moral, right, and just. He goes about his path helping others as well. I see the King of Earth and his most core values are upright. They have all of this in check. So we may be someone living like this, and we may have to look outward and see that maybe there are people outside of us that are not living in this mode, is the sense that I'm getting. Us right now, I feel like we're trying to come from our moral center. And this may or may not be a stretch, or it may or may not be a stretch for people outside of you. I feel like that's more the case here. Right now, we're dealing with that. I think the King of Earth is here saying we are stable and strong and morally just. So let's continue forward into our future. What do we get there? We get the Father card. So we may be dealing with a father figure. We may be a father figure. Or it may be a father figure in our life right now. We are looking at dealing with, integrity issues here is what I get. I feel like the father figure and the King of Earth are two separate people. And I feel like we may have someone in our life at this time. Now, either we have a lot of faith and trust in a father figure in our life, but there may be some integrity problems here. Something that doesn't add up for us in the integrity department. Morality, this kind of thing. And it could also be just a fatherly type figure or someone we put above us in some way. That is maybe asking us or suggesting to us to do something immoral. Okay? So this could be dicey. Okay, let's go back to this integrity card from the beginning. We're going to use the chakra cards now on top of that. So 23, integrity. Yeah, because they're going, look at this woman. She's negative, of course, right? And that's about being vulnerable is the sense they're giving me here. Like we're vulnerable prey for someone outside of us that may be twisting words, mincing things, not working with their moral values at all. This is what I'm getting. And that can be easily or perceived as easily manipulated. Okay, just bear with me here. The next card that we get on the integrity card is the Six of Coins, and that's about people giving to us. From what kind of center? Are we receiving things from people and not having a moral compass as to where this sits? Taking without giving back, or an imbalance in this kind of way, or taking for immoral acts. This is what I'm getting. On top of the King of Earth, I feel like that's our strong, stable selves. That's the center of the universe for us. Our spiritual sense is saying we got to stick with our morality, our integrity. We keep that intact, blah, blah, blah. I feel like there might be someone outside of us trying to pull us off it, or someone outside of us that is just not on it. It's not on their integrity. The King of Earth, on top of that, we get the Temperance card. Yeah, and that's a balancing of energies, right? We may have to have a bit of a influx of negative energy here in order to balance that out. I feel like this is just an introduction phase. I feel like there's something flying through our universe here that's trying to taint our field, is the sense that I get. And either we don't realize that at this point, or we're starting to realize that and are going to need to balance energies out here in the near future. Now, on top of this Father card, which is quite disturbing, because I get, when you have the Father, that's someone you trust to protect you and look after you. And I don't get that this is in the upright. I feel like this person wouldn't deliberately hurt you, because it's like they have some power here. Like they're showing me the wand, the Ace of Wands. There's an opportunity here that opens up. But I feel like underground, this is a morality issue that just screams to me no, or screams to the Cancer, no, I don't want to do this. This is not right and just. But I feel like this person, in their perspective, they feel they can get away with it, and they want you to come on board with them. And I feel like this is a testing time for the Cancer. But nonetheless, there's a figure that we put above ourselves in this way. And the Father figure it's like that protection factor. And I feel like this is where we lose our protection if we go down this road that we're being highly guided not to go down. Okay. So on top of there, the chakra card we get is the World. Yeah. This is about a cycle completion. We can end a cycle here if we're willing to, but we could also roll back into another loop of cycles. Now, the Temperance card is here, so there is, from above, there's guidance. And not only that, I feel like the Cancer does have a good core to come from. So, if we end up going down this road and looping again, it's going to be a hard fall from where we should be going. But nonetheless, we're going to continue forward here. I feel like this is a test of our integrity, and we're either going to pass or we're going to fail. And we're going to loop through it again. So the Six of Coins, about equal give and take. It could be about things coming at us or receiving gifts in this kind of way. But are we in our integrity as we do this? On top of that, the Shaman's card we get. Gathering around the power of community. Okay. I do feel there's a sense of having to impress others with certain types of views here. Now, remember, they're going to give me everything without giving me the details. So the sense that I get here is everybody in our community understands the integrity and the right side to go here. So the funny thing that I'm feeling is that if those people weren't around, I think we would lose our integrity and go down that path. But because there's people outside of us shouting at us, don't do this. Again, our instinct is doing the same. But again, there's something here not connecting. Yeah, that King of Earth usually has a good hold of his instinct, but we may have something that's blocking that from us on a higher level. I don't mean from God above. I mean from like a block that we have, a belief system that we have that locks us out of the truth here, or seeing things clearly as black and white. When, if we're talking about morality, this is a black and white issue. It is either moral or immoral. There is no kind of in between here. And I feel like there's people outside of us kind of saying you should do this, do this, do this. I feel like our inner core doesn't want to. The problem is that it's immoral. So this is our conundrum here. Gathering around, I feel like there's people gathering around trying to convince us to do things properly. I don't know that we're going to go in this way. Now, as we move into the present energy here, so the present card, again, on the temperance, I feel like we're tempering ourselves because there is a part of our instinct that's getting through, but the actual decision to be made, we're not wanting to make the right decision for some reason here. We're being tempted to go into an immoral road here. Okay, so on top of that temperance card, again, we're guided. Some of it's getting through, but there's some kind of belief system here that blocks us from making the right decision. We get the Horseman 30, Herald of Change. Really, no matter which way we go here, positive or negative, it is going to herald a huge change and switch in our universal flow. Now, I can't remember for the life of me the Cancer reading from before, which is interesting because I just went over it. But anyway, so that means that has nothing to do with the energy that's sitting here right now. Things change, situations change, ideals change. That's what happens. Whether we go forward in our integrity or not is really the crux of this reading. And I feel internally the Cancer wants to go against that grain. And that will be a lesson that they'll have to live out. I was talking about energetic fields and how things are pronounced from here. If we go in anti-integrity way, there's going to be doors behind us that are going to lock us out of certain things in our life. Again, great changes are going to happen. If we go in the way of integrity, there are big doors that are going to open in front of us that we may not have seen from the vantage point of where we're at. And that too will create great change, depending on the positive or negative pole that you sit at. And this is right here, right now. We're right on top of the scenario. If it hasn't hit us, it will be hitting us in the immediate future. There's a herald of change here depending on this decision of integrity or non-integrity. I feel like this is an integral part of our life path where we shut doors and open doors. And it's up to you where you go there. We have someone here, a father figure or someone we put above us quite highly for protection purposes. We have the World card here symbolizing a cycle or an end of a cycle, something that we want you to come to a final completion on. Now, beware, because the decision that we make from here will lock us into this long term. So if we're going in an anti-integrity, this is something we're going to utilize more in the future and go down the road in that way. If we go from an integrity center, then this is going to be something that locks us into that frequency for a long term down the road. Okay, so that needed to be said. On top of the World card, and there is a light of God above her head, so keep that in mind. On top of that, we get the galactic mushroom. Yeah, the universe is highly connected here to get through to you to make the right decision. And if we want to go with hope and whatnot, this is the Cancer's going to make the right decision, even though they are going to get pulled quite highly and manipulated, or I don't know, trying to make the wrong decision. They're going to be forced quite highly in this way. I do feel they come out making the right decision. I feel like there's too much universal energy here to allow them to go in this way, even though they are convinced. Some of them are convinced in a way that they could do this. And I don't even want to get into the energies there, but they're convinced that they can go forward in this energy and it not affect them in too bad of a way. I think those are for the negative poles, frankly. So for the positive ones, we're going to look at that, and that's basically the divine energies coming down to help you illuminate, to this, help you rise above this, and help you choose your integrity above all else. So as we shut this down, that is, it's a crux point. It's you're at the eye, as I see it, you're at the eye of the needle, the universe trying to push you in a certain direction. And depending on what you are mostly made of, this is where you're going to head. Yeah. Use your integrity. Yeah. Okay, the animal card, as we go forward here. We have the bison, again, ritual. So a sense of tapping into something on a repeated basis. I was getting that energy. It's like if we choose the immoral path, we're going to go down that immoral path again and again and again. And this is what we're going to lock in to frequency. And if we choose the moral path, we're going to lock into that again and again and again. So this is a pivotal decision for our way forward. And once we make an immoral decision, we can't go back, is the sense that I get. There's going to be doors locked behind us, and there's going to be heavy consequences. And it may even be people in our community that turn against us highly because of this. Okay, wow. This is heavy. It's heavy. And 5, 6, 7, 8, that is the 8th path. That is within this year. These things will be locked down. And there's an essence of that. And even though, nothing's set in stone, there are certain things that are set in stone. And there's certain time limits we can accomplish these things in. And I feel like for the Cancer, it's coming down to the wire. So on the planetary card here, what do we have? We have the Moon in Scorpio transformation, 20, a change in your emotional life. So honestly, I feel like there's someone trying to get us to do things a certain way. We know it's wrong, but there is a part of us that is convinced that we could do this and get away with it, kind of thing. Again, I would warn against that, but you have your free will to do what you want. A change in your emotional life. So there's something having highly to do with our emotional side of things that we have to look at from the vantage point of inner instinct. Anything that we can latch onto in this way would help us. And the sense they're giving me is we're only getting like 25% of our instinct coming through. Now, what creates a block in that area is shutting our heart down, coming from our ego. This kind of thing can shut those things out. So getting our ego in check and listening to our heart, and at the same time our logic, right? Because if we listen to our heart and no logic, we would go in this anti-integrity way. But if we listen to our logic and our heart, we balance it out, we can make decisions from that vantage point and squeak through this clean. So the Moon is about illusions. I do feel that the Cancer's not seeing clearly here. It's like a lot is being veiled from us. And I'm not too sure where or why that is. But there's an illusion here, and it's highly in our field. And we're not quite aware that the next step that we make is a pivotal one. And if nothing gets through, but that needed to be said. And we may think this decision that we make is a light decision, but it will come with heavy consequences. So we need to do what's true and just and right, even if we have to think like, what would everybody else do in this scenario? And I kind of don't like to come from that side of things. But we are not connected to our instinct at this time. But I feel like there's a community around us that is trying to connect. And isn't it interesting that we have gathering around the power of community, number 26, which brings us to an 8, which is this year. There are people surrounding us that are connected to the divine and the galactic mushroom, right? The galactic mushroom I attribute to higher energy fields. I feel like these people outside of you that are trying to put some knowledge into you or some wisdom into you, I feel like they're coming from the right side of things for your highest good. But for some reason, the Cancer themselves not coming from their highest good. They're not thinking about their highest good in the future. 6 and 2 is 8. 4 and 2 is 6. Give me a moment to deal with. Yeah, because 4 and 2, the galactic mushroom number, that brings us to a 6, which is past the point. We make a decision and it puts us in the path. Whether that's good or bad, that decides on you. That decision's on you. And the sense here is be careful because the moon is here and it's in Scorpio. So it's highly, highly illusional, highly delusional we can be. So a change in your emotional life is needed in order to adapt to things properly. The transformation butterfly is here to get you out of that worm and into flying free. And if we listen to the little bit of assistance that we get that's coming through and follow it, we will have big gains from that. Internally, we do know what's right and wrong. We just have to resist temptation here is the sense that I get. Yeah, there's a completion cycle that wants to happen here, and I feel like it has to do with, I don't know. They're making that really fuzzy. I was going to say I feel like it has to do with our perception of right and wrong, but at the same time, I get a sense that we do know what's right and wrong. But there's something in our circles or something around us that's making us think that it's the opposite, and we're kind of falling for that trap. So again, changes will come here, and there will be long-term consequences of this, depending on the pole that you sit in. So Cancer, that is your spirituality reading here. I don't know if I made you more confused, but just basically a red flag here that there are some pivotal decisions that we're going to make in the future that is going to lock us in or out of certain things. So be aware of that as you move forward, to just be a little more cautious as you make your decisions in the future. And if you are one that is accepting divine energy, I would do that in the utmost at this time in order to gain answers and help you move forward. Take care, have fun, and be kind, and we will talk to you soon.